And we're live. We're live.
Are we really?
Hey.
Really?
Well,
Really?
no, not really.
We're half dead, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm very half dead today. Today has been like a crazy day. I've been doing nothing but video editing, and
Hmm.
that like really drains it. You know, I don't. It's like you don't do anything physical. Nothing physical at all. But yeah,
Yeah.
It'll take it out of you.
It's the same thing as advertising on social media. You think you don't do nothing, but after 5 hours, you fall asleep on your chair.
yeah. Well, advertising on social media is a lot of work too. I mean, it's actually you're having to like paste a link and be creative, and then go and do another link and then be creative and find another place to put it and find another place to put it. Like this guy's
Create
thing, comment on this
graphics
guy's
like
thing.
nonstop. Create graphics. Make sure you stay up to date on comments. Yeah, it's all bullshit. But it is work. It makes you fucking sit there and stay interactive. Like if you've ever tried to maintain an active social media campaign, you've oh shit, I hear myself.
Yeah, there's a delay. There's that
Yeah.
echo.
Echo.
There we go.
Echo.
All right. So basically, if you've ever maintained an active social media account and had to deal with like ongoing
Now you just got muted.
We're in the twilight zone. Okay.
yeah, I just keep hearing myself.
He's having trouble with some of his transformers in his voice, conductor.
But no, like it's hard work. Like it takes time, and if it's active, you're busy all fucking day until you decide to turn off. People keep commenting. People keep getting that link. People keep trying to get that coupon code or whatever.
Yeah. You gotta keep feeding the beast, or the beast will forget about you. So
Right.
that's the downside to all this, is that the beast likes to forget. So
My wife just brought me a Winter Soldier that's giving me half of a fuck you arm gesture.
awesome. Was that on purpose? Like,
Is it with the metal arm?
Yeah, it's the McDonald's toy.
That's cold. That's
Yeah.
cold.
I don't know why she do this to me. I love her so much. I love you, Mrs. Church.
She bought it for you, didn't she?
No,
mean
she
so?
got the children's Happy Meals.
Oh,
And she just basically told me "f you" with the arm.
no. Well, that's how it goes, man. You know,
Mrs. Church sounds like a sweetheart.
I love her to death. That's why I married her and put babies in her.
Ooh.
as long as it happened in order, you know, because
Yep.
we wouldn't believe if you put babies in her first. What's up,
No,
Gregory?
I did that, and I did the other thing.
Shotgun
Anyway.
wedding.
Yeah.
babies,
No,
was that
it wasn't
was that
shotgun.
Was that before? Or
No,
after
it was
you
a
came to church?
357.
57 wedding.
308. Fuck you. Which tragically got lost in a tragic boating accident. Now at the bottom of the lake.
Yeah, it was just conveniently lost.
Right. Well, along with all my other firearms.
Well, now's not the time to be losing firearms.
Yeah, definitely.
No. I lost them all in a boating accident. I have
Oh,
no
boy.
idea what happened to them.
And
I definitely
boat-
don't own them still.
Yeah, they were just conveniently lost at the bottom of the lake. Just, you know,
Correct.
after they'd all been used in a certain situation.
conveniently unregistered.
We're here to talk about War Party, not my felonious past.
Well, you got to go back to muskets if you want to talk about War Party.
I want to talk about War Party. I'm going to
Alright.
get my my musket balls out. I'm going to
Yeah.
start packing down charges. You know,
No,
I know how to
you-
do that.
You know, if they pass a law that all semi-autos are banned, you can still have your muskets, right? You can still
Oh,
have
and your
your flintlocks, your muzzle loaders.
And
I was
don't
gonna say,
forget
you can just
and don't forget the throwing knives, the throwing axes, and swords.
you can have 18 flint loaders on your person with 2 shots each. I mean,
Right.
that's almost as good as having an AK.
Of course, good luck confiscating or getting millions of Americans to turn them in. I'd like to see
Right.
that.
It's okay.
I would-
Crossbow and bow and arrow, I'm good.
I'm okay with making my own firearms too. So if I had to, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
Little
3D printer.
PVC pipe.
Zip gun. Right. We're gonna get banned off YouTube. We don't know.
Prank caller, prank caller. I don't know you.
We used to learn that in science, how to make your own little pipe gun.
Yeah, zip
that?
guns. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that how you call them? Zip guns?
Yeah, that's what they used to call them. They used
You
to make them
mean
in
the
New York
wand of
back in the
magic
50s.
pistol?
Yeah, actually, zip guns were actually like the leading killer of people on the street for the longest time.
Yeah, in the 50s in New York when they made them with rubber bands and nails. Yeah,
Mhm.
just put a bullet in it and pow. You know. Sorry, we're teaching the kids bad things. We better stop.
Just stop it. They find worse on the internet. Now they found how to make nuclear bombs.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in elementary school, it was like a big deal to make like little like makeshift grenades out of actual like tearing apart aluminum cans, into little scraps.
Drew, do you
And
want the FBI to come on this live stream?
Dude, I was in high school and I made a crossbow out of those
God.
clothespins
I'm
and a
signing-
and
I'm
a
signing off
toothpick
now.
and a toothpick, and I shot down on the butt of my teacher.
Oh, God. Okay. You're making me nervous, guys. Let me at least finish my campaign before I get kicked off of all social media.
But you guys, come on, MacGyver was a thing in the 90s. Come on.
Yeah, it was totally a thing. It was totally a thing. You couldn't stop us when MacGyver came out. It basically
Yeah, dude,
encouraged us all to blow shit up
to try all type of little things. Yeah.
before they outlawed was it Black Cat fireworks. It was all
Look,
What's
I
War
didn't-
Party all
yeah,
about?
the Black Cats.
I didn't
of
know
those.
that I was getting invited onto a show with all these extremists. I just want to disavow.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
I'm a fine, law-abiding citizen with children and a wife, and I pay my taxes, and I have a 401k.
that
and
makes you an extremist.
These
Yeah,
days.
I never said I was white, sir.
Yeah, but
Hey,
dude, you
quit.
went from one extreme to another.
Yeah,
Gun
quit.
owner to gun in the water.
You need to stop it with all these dog whistles, Church of Failure. Okay? I've counted like 15 of them.
Calling you out.
Okay, so what's the War Party all about?
It is about a father trying to save his daughter, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty. That's the motivation, at least. It's in the 1750s during the French and Indian War. And this group of colonial brothers are fighting for the British at the time. Their family gets wiped out, and the 8-year-old daughter gets taken away to be sold to the French. That happened. It was very common in that time period. And he has a connection, so to speak, with this shaman named Diane. She's part of an Algonquin tribe, but kind of like a secret tribe that has the power of transformation. What you see there, like the shape-shifting powers. And he basically saved her life when he was younger during a hunt. And so they've known each other since he was like 17. So he goes to her for help, and she gives him basically the war party, this group of 5 guys, the pelts that match their spirit animals, and they're able to transform into these beasts to fight the French and the British to go rescue the daughter. So that's the gist of it in a nutshell. I think the splintering called it Pocahontas meets Altered Beast.
But that's what I was going to ask you in the beginning. If the transformation came from either the spiritual
It's
Indian
actually
or the mutation, or if it was going to be
It's both, but you have to have the pelt on. So what the way it works is Diane, she determines what your spirit animal is, and that's the only thing you can transform into. So if it's a wolf or a gator or whatever, that's your animal. And she has various pelts made, and you have to put the pelt on, and she transforms you. So without her, you can't. She is the conduit for the power, basically, in the story.
Oh, so they can't just turn whenever they want. They have to
No.
go to her to get turned.
Yes,
This isn't like Animorphs and Power Rangers.
No, and the thing is, there's some catches here. They can only stay in that form for a limited amount of time. The longer they stay in that form, they start to basically become that animal.
So like the old principle of the werewolf, the longer he would stay in that form, he would remain as such when the moon would go
to
down.
some degree. Now the thing is, they still have their wits when they're in their form. They can still communicate and talk. So they're not just raving monsters running around mindlessly attacking everything. They think just like they do with their human. They just have enhanced abilities based on whatever their animal is.
And they lose some of that as the longer they stay.
Yeah, I mean, she has to bring them back basically to their humanity. So it's a great time period to put this in because it's such a brutal. I don't know if you know much about that time period pre-revolution, but
Yep.
if you ever seen the movie Last of the Mohicans, that'll give you an idea of what a brutal time it was. And so I just felt like it was a great backdrop to put. If you want to call it a werewolf story, it's really not a werewolf story. It's various animals, but you get my drift.
I immediately like the fact that you put that kind of thought into the plot line. Like you're looking at it along the lines of, okay, well, this can't just be convenient. Like this is something that you have to really think about and weigh the cost of.
Yeah.
Because anytime these guys quote unquote morph for change, they have to be conscious of the fact that, okay, we only have a limited time to use our abilities. And it also opens avenues to where there's strategy used with their transformations and things of that nature.
Yeah, and there's conflict too. Like the guy that plays the bear, or that's the bear character, he's the eldest brother of the three brothers, and he's kind of he's a bear of a man. He's like a real lovable kind of guy, and but he's like a very devout Christian believer, and he thinks this is horrible. Like he resists it at first because he thinks it's evil. Like he won't put the pelt on, and so the other brothers have to convince him that it's okay. We got to do this. We got to. And so he's a hard sell on this one. But what I like about his character is he's one of those. He's kind of like the Hulk. So once he puts it on, you don't want him. You don't want him confronting you. Like he's the strongest of the five, because if you ever look into the animal world, a grizzly bear is about the most powerful animal on the planet. Next to maybe an elephant. Grizzlies are incredibly strong.
Yeah. If elephants had claws, they'd be a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, right. But I mean, grizzlies, they're the only thing that could probably take on a grizzly is a tiger, maybe. I don't know. And I don't even know about that. They're just incredibly powerful. So it's I try to give each character
we lost
a different.
Church fell out.
Oh, what happened to him?
He fell out.
Because I said the bear was devoutly religious, and then church left me.
He's all. No, I can only be the church. I'm the church. No, okay.
So yeah, I try to make the characters distinct. They definitely have distinct personalities. The Gator character is like a scoundrel who was basically set to be executed. He was a British soldier, but he had an affair with the lieutenant colonel's wife and got caught. So the lieutenant colonel wants to hang him, and then the Jaguar is actually a French soldier who is a turncoat mercenary. So he's changed sides multiple times. He's served for the French, he's served the British, almost as like a double agent. So you kind of have these misfits thrown in with the three brothers, and it's a good dynamic. There's a lot of good banter. I try to keep the dialogue somewhat period, accurate, the way people would talk in the 1750s, as best I can, and make it comprehensible.
Well, let's watch the video.
Sure.
Give it a gander.
Everything changed when war reached the Americas. Caught between the French and the British, my family paid the price. Only my darling Sarah survived. They took her away. We couldn't save them, but we will save her. 5 men against thousands, how can it be done? We are not merely men. War has brought out the beast in us all. And we will have our vengeance, for we are
the War Party.
I think you used just enough of that Last of the Mohicans soundtrack to not get flagged.
Get in trouble.
Yeah. Like just short enough and little clips to not get somebody flagged. It was funny. I was Mark Polton was on here the other week, and his soundtrack got my video flagged.
Did it really?
Yeah, no, but it wasn't like a bad. It's not like
Wow.
a strike. It's just a copyright claim.
Because I know a lot of people use, pop songs and things like that sometimes in their campaigns. It's pretty common. So, wow, I'm sure. I think it depends on the popularity of the tune, honestly, and who owns the rights and how strict they are.
Yeah,
Being a
and
movie soundtrack, I think kind of just gets overlooked.
yeah, and sometimes I think it comes down to the circumstance. Like I think his was just long enough. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it was actually from something, but it sounded close enough to where it might have triggered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you never know. It's really inconsistent. I've had that. I've had times where I've not been flagged at all for using music, and then I've had other times when I can't even get the video on. Like they won't even let anybody see it. So
Jarrell,
it just depends.
Jarrell. I want to say Jarrell because like Superman, but says looks fantastic. Definitely intrigued.
Thanks, Drew.
Jerry's giving us a real wave. What's up, Jerry? And then Hex here says, hey, did YouTube remove the disparaging comment about the French?
What comment was that? Oh, boy. Yeah, they make a lot of jokes about the French because the character, because he doesn't speak very much English, so they kind of talk about him and he talks about them. And it's a funny character. He's a funny character. I enjoy writing him.
They want the campaign link. I probably should have provided that before. So
Yeah, that would have been a good idea.
there we go. It's coming. It's coming. All right.
That's what
It's in the
she
chat, everybody. Yeah, I know. She says it all the time. But she lies. She lies.
So yeah, I mean it's been a slow burn, but it's been a burn, and the fire keeps burning. So that's why I extended the campaign. I think I've raised enough to justify another 30 days, and as long as I keep going the way I'm going, I'll definitely hit my goal. But I just want to put your viewers at ease. This book's coming out whether I hit my goal or not. I was always intending on releasing it, so it's not hinging on whether or not I hit 10,000. That's really what I need.
Yeah. It's in this time period, 10,000 in a 60-day period seems to be a big challenge for
It is.
a lot of people.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's
it really is.
it's interesting. You either make six figures or you make $5,000. It's very broad.
There are middle grounds, but yeah,
they're usually they're campaigns that they're second or third campaigns. I've noticed they're not the first campaign.
Well, even first campaigns can make a lot of money depending on who's helping you promote it.
Right.
Because there are pockets of different audiences. You know what I mean? And a lot of us are known in the CG community, but those people that know of us don't necessarily keep a close watch on us. So they don't follow our channels, they don't follow our Twitters, they don't even know there's anything new.
Yeah, I'm bouncing around on every stream I can get on. I mean,
no, that's good. It's
every
really
single
good.
Stream.
You definitely should just keep plugging away, and then if you can get it to go on demand, keep going after that too.
Yeah. Ethan gave it a shout out a couple times, which I was very happy about. And it was funny because I think one time he mentioned it on his live stream, and I think I got 15 pledges within a couple minutes just by him saying it. Yeah, I'm thinking, wow, that's power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Ethan can swing that pretty heavily. He's got a very, very large pool of happy independent comic buyers. You know what I mean? And if Ethan says this is a good comic, check it out, you're gonna get probably 1% of those people do it. You know what I mean? Which will end up being a lot. If you have 1,000 people watching, 1% is 10 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I brought my A game. I did my best work. That's all you can do, right? I mean, you do your best work, you put it out there, and then you try to promote it as best you can. And there's nothing more you can do. So
you can pray. That helps.
Yeah, pray or take out a loan.
Yeah.
Yep.
So okay, so War Party is looking really good. It's you're moving forward. That's cool. 126 backers. That's not bad. Let's see here. Your tiers. You only have the 4 tiers. You have $50 for the complete variant set. You have a Now a complete set here. This is not variants. This is just 6 issues. Okay,
Right.
this is not a graphic novel. This is going to be 6 floppies.
Correct. They're all going to ship together. I wanted to do that because I just wanted to do a miniseries. Honestly, I like the episodic, traditional floppy comic book, 22-page story. So, and I wanted honestly to have 6 different covers. The set of the complete set is 6. The variant set is the same thing. It's 6 issues, but there's 5 more variants of issue 1, and each cover features a different member of the war party. So you're basically getting 11 comics plus a free poster for $50. Not a bad
Okay.
deal.
No,
They're $4 a pop. That's what I'm charging. I'm charging what I would charge if they were in store. I'm
That's
charging
how-
retail.
That's basically how I approach it. Except I mark up a $1 for bag and board. So
Yeah. I wanted them. I was insistent. I swore to myself. I said, I want to charge what they're going to get, what a customer would pay for if they were to buy this right off the rack. That's what I wanted to charge. I've gotten a little bit of criticism for it, which I think is funny because I'm like, you're complaining I'm not taking more of your money? What's going on?
No, I've gotten the same criticism because I do the same
Because
thing.
people do expect to pay at least a little bit of shipping.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
kinda
well, yeah, there
they
is
want you to
shipping.
succeed. They want you to
Yeah.
succeed, not to take too much risk neither.
Don't get
And
me
there's-
wrong. I'm
there's
charging
also-
$10. Yeah, I'm charging $10 for shipping, which is
Yeah.
plenty. It'll cover
Mhm.
when they're all packaged together in a Gemini mailer. It'll cover it. So I am charging for shipping, but I was getting flack because the books were $4 a piece. I think people are
Mhm.
thinking I should charge $7, $8, $9, $10 a book, and I'm like,
Well,
No,
guys,
but
this is a comic book.
it's the selling principle of just the fact of you could have inverted it, right? $10 the book, $5 shipping. People would see
Yeah,
it
true.
as a better deal.
Mhm.
It's just the fact that right now when they pay your book $5 and they see
Mhm.
like $10 shipping, they're like, I'm paying double the book for shipping.
Well,
It's-
no,
it's
they're not-
weird. It's just
right, right.
it's just a way of reason that people
They're not
Even when
shipping
you-
separate though, so that's where I didn't like. I'm not shipping 6 shipments. That would have been a
Right.
mistake. Because then, yes, you're right. They would be paying as much for shipping as they were paying for the book. They're getting all 6 books for $10 shipping. So they're
Yeah.
paying 25 and another 10. So
No,
yeah,
that-
I
that's
see
a-
your point. But
That's a real good deal. I mean, it really
Yeah.
is. I mean, I do my campaign separately, so they pay for shipping individually. But instead of having it where they pay the shipping later, I package it all together as one flat price.
yeah,
I think the
Yeah.
principle is the KISS principle, keep it simple.
Yeah.
And for certain people, it's when you need to explain your perk, like he had to explain Sir Drew on his Captain Love. You have to say to people like, oh, you get 5 books and I get delivered in one shot. People go, oh yeah, it makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the description, but obviously, I mean, people have to take the time to read it.
Exactly.
Right.
That's
They
the
don't.
thing.
They
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
I think it's clear. It's 6 issues, so
well,
Yeah.
most people,
price is a price.
most people don't like change. You know what I mean? They don't even want to think.
Tell me about it. It's like, no, I want to pay $50 for your 64-page
And,
graphic novel.
And just so it's clear, like I'm not arguing their point. I'm just saying that why they're saying it. 'cause,
Right,
you know,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it,
No.
and I'm not trying to undercut anybody or like say, look, I'm going to give you a better deal or anything like that. The truth is, I'm
We all
not.
try, yeah.
I'm not EVS. I'm not John Malin. I don't think I'm in a position, and this is just me personally, I don't think I'm in a position to be charging a premium right now for what I'm offering. Because as far as Comicsgate goes, even though I've been in publishing since '92, since I was 17, distributed by Diamond, so I've been in publishing just as long as just about any professional. But that doesn't mean anybody knows who I am, right? Especially not in crowdfunding. So I'm a newbie as far as 99% of the people are concerned. It doesn't matter about my publishing history. So I did not think that it made sense for me to come out of the gate charging what some of these other superstars are charging for their books. It didn't make sense to me. I was like, I need to offer people a deal and entice them to try the product, right?
Yeah, you'll get the argument that a lot of guys that do charge those prices will be they that it's a premium book is the thing they'll say well we're
Yeah, but-
crowdfunding
But just don't mix it up. There's 2 different models.
but
Like there's
the-
different models.
let me finish what I'm saying before you critique me.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. But the real picture is I think they say that because they don't want to lower their price.
I get it. No,
Like they're selling 1,000 books or more at
Right,
this
right.
premium price. you know, they could actually at that point they could actually lower their price and still make a killing. You know what I mean? So you know they
And-
just don't want to.
To me,
It's
it's just
understandable.
like I was saying. I think it's just the fact that there's two different models, and you can't you can't say that one's better than the other. Like, I prefer trying to offer like a graphic novel. That's my own approach, right? Because I like the European model a bit more.
Right.
But the floppy one is another market that I'm like, dude, yeah, you guys need to find a way to up your game and make it more valuable for people that you know the floppy experience. It's not the same as a graphic novel experience.
Right, and this can be collected later in a prestige format. I
Yep.
can re-release it later in a book. I honestly, the floppies was strictly a nostalgic choice. I just wanted to do a miniseries. It's just no more complicated than that. And I like I said, you can read one issue, put it down, and say, "Oh, I'll read issue 2 tomorrow or next week." A graphic novel, it feels a little bit more like a commitment. You know, you break out the bookmark, especially if it's 140 pages. You're not necessarily going to read it all in one sitting. So you might read a few pages and stick the bookmark and put it away. I liked the fact that this is compartmentalized and broken up, kind of like episodes in a TV series, or you know, sort of that approach. So that's why I did it that way. And I think people are starting to get it, what I'm doing here. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely
Yeah, I like the idea.
if I were to do any follow-up stories beyond this, like continuations, I would release them probably as one shot, 64-page, graphic novels. I would go back to that model because that is the model that I've done. The last book I did in 2008 was.
I personally stick with the 6-issue arcs, and I release them like the 6-issue arcs, and I release them first as floppies, and then and then as a graphic novel for reprints, because the floppies are collector's items.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
this was my graphic novel in 2008. It's 200 pages. Okay. Full color.
What's the name of it?
Clayburn. It's a Civil War general. It's a true story. So this was actually historically accurate. There's no fantasy in here at all. But this was a massive project. It took me a year to draw it. And I did the art. I didn't do the inking. The inking was Al Milgrom from Marvel Comics. And my colorist is Jay Brown, the same colorist that's working on War Party. So I'm no stranger to long form work. So, when people go 140 pages, well, number one, 4 issues are finished. I'm on issue 5. So a lot of the work's already done. I've also invested a lot of my own money in it. So really this 10,000 is completion funds. It's the funds to finish it, and get it out. If I were having to do this from the ground up, I'd need more like 20, to be honest with you.
Eric wants to know if that graphic novel you're holding is still available somewhere.
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon or my website, Rampart Press. If you order from my website, I'll sign it for you. If you order on his Amazon, it might be a little cheaper. But this was $24.95, and it's 200 pages. It weighs a pound, by the way. It weighs a pound. That's how heavy the paper is. So, and it's $24.95, 200 pages, right? So, and the thing is, when I sold this through Diamond, you know how much I got for it? $9.98 a book. They take a 60% discount. So I'm used to getting less than half the cover price for what I produce. Right. So when I'm able to release this for $4 a pop and get full cover price, that's a markup for me. That's good. That's great. So I don't see it as, giving it away or it being cheap at all. To me, I'm making more money. I would never charge $8 for a 22-page or $10 for a 22-page comic book. It doesn't make sense to me. So there's my rant. I think I need to quit trying to defend myself and just let it be.
Maybe that's why I go with the 64+ page, because to me it's like I'm offering a miniseries of 3-issue.
If you go less than 64, it feels it's not substantial enough. I don't think 48. I know, right? I don't think 48 is enough. It's just not enough of a story.
I tried with Blood Hunt and I just couldn't make it work. So I'm gonna do a 64, and even there I added a few pages and I made it a 72-page.
48 pages is really just an extended short.
Yeah, it is.
Even I thought about it myself, like trying to do 2-chapter arcs, you know what I mean? Try to do 3-chapter arcs, you know what I mean? And release those.
Eric, my website is Rampart Press. RAMPART Press, PRESS, rampartpress.com.
RAMPERT.
ART, like a rampart, like a castle rampart. Rampart
I
Press.
gotcha. .com.
And by the way,
Yeah.
talking about
I'm
Syria
sure it will also
floppy.
be in the description after the show.
Yeah. Indie Comics just put it up.
Talking about a serial floppy after that being put to a trade paperback. Yesterday I got my 6-gun Gorilla, Long Days of Vengeance.
Oh yeah,
trade
finally.
paperback from Brian. Yep.
Church is back.
Finally came in. For some
Yeah.
reason I don't understand why it takes like almost 2 months to get stuff from the US
Because
to
you're not
Canada.
in real. Because you're not in real America.
Dude, I can get shit to you in like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
A
because
month.
I'm in real
you,
America.
It takes 2 months.
Can you
Because
guys
you're not in
actually
real
hear me?
America.
Dude, real America.
we can
I'm
hear
not,
you. Yes, we can
Canada
hear
is
you,
not
Church.
America.
I know. Yeah, actually,
Thank you.
Canada
Thank
is
you.
North America. It is.
Jarrell has a question. Jarrell,
I know.
when is the 6th issue going to be completed? Yeah, June 2021 is my fulfillment date. Okay, so I'm going to ship them all together. All right, so I got to finish the last 2 issues, 5 and 6. They take me about 2 to 3 months to finish because as you can see, my art's pretty detailed. So sometimes a page can take me 2 to 3 days. And then of course my colorist is working on issue 3 right now, so that overlaps with what he's doing. Then we got pre-press and printing and all that sort of thing. So 2021 next summer.
Very cool. That's not bad. I mean, you're going to be slaving away on that, or you already
Yeah.
have been. So.
Well, I have been, yeah, but I mean, I'm really going to have to amp it up these next few months, definitely. You have to stop, honestly, to promote these campaigns. These campaigns eat up a lot of time. You pretty much have to write off a good month and say, look, this month I'm not going to get a whole lot done.
Yeah,
And then
Running a
pick it up.
campaign is a full-time job just by
It
itself.
is.
Yeah,
It is.
seriously, I've been campaigning full time since I launched my first campaign. And like when you don't see me campaigning full time, that means I'm swamped with work and can't break free. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, between computer programming, between trying to drum up work because COVID has taken work away, and doing things like video editing and all the other little stuff that I do. I mean, it's there's no one thing that I do that keeps me alive anymore.
Well, I have found that like people like to see art. So what I try to do is I'll do time lapse, like sped up inking videos of me working on a page and then post it. So I'm kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm working on the book, but I'm also making a video that people can enjoy to promote the book. So I try to let that overlap a little bit.
If I was if I could draw to save my life, I would probably do that too.
Yeah,
But
it works.
I hire my artists. That's
Yeah.
that makes the book a little bit more painful too. By the way, when you're the writer and you have to hire everybody.
Yeah, I know.
It makes it.
Yeah, I only have to hire a colorist. That's it. I'm everything else. And
Same
you
here.
know,
I hire a letterer too because I don't want to do it.
yeah, to me having a letterer is a luxury. If you have the money, it's great. But if you can do your own lettering, and it's a cost saver. And I did all my own lettering in this book, so I have plenty of practice.
I'm lucky that my best friend and bro does that shit. So
Yeah.
I like doing my own lettering so I can change out the words without any issue because like for me, the church died again. For me, lettering is like an art. You know what I mean?
It is.
And because it like I ideally like the perfect lettering situation for me would be that things are shaped in a nice oval, of course, but the way that the lines lay out are the way that you would say it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like because people speak in cadence. And so I like to have it can't do it every time. I mean, but like I try to as much as I possibly can to get the speech bubbles to match human cadence. Like
yeah. And I'm changing letters right up until the 11th hour sometimes on a page.
Me too.
And that's the problem. I'm like, if I was working with a letterer, I'd be driving him crazy because I'd be coming back going, can you cut that line? Can you move that bubble? And I'm doing it myself because to me, it's all part of the design. So when you're drawing a panel, you need to know how much space you need to put that text in. But sometimes you put that text in and you want to cut it or make it a little longer or trim it or move it around. and then all of a sudden the art's there, and it's almost like something the artist needs to do, I feel. So I don't know how I would do that with a letterer and not drive them insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, trust me, it's not easy as someone doing lettering when the illustrator doesn't really respect the place that you should have some lettering. It's like I've had a combination. It's crazy. Like I've had the illustrator do both, where like they'll put too much space for lettering. Like they thought ahead. Oh, I'm gonna put here's where you're gonna speech bubble, and then on other pages they leave none.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
and you're having to cover up valuable art because the way it's done today, all the art is drawn, everything's colored. You're coloring and drawing in spaces that are going to get covered up.
Right.
So you're spending time creating art that the audience is not, or the reader's not going to see. Now, I am offering a perk that I don't know any other campaigns are offering. I'm offering a full motion comic. It's an add-on perk. It's $10. And I've already started on the first 2 issues, but it's the entire 6-issue series in a motion comic form. And then that's the case where it's good that you have all the art, because I take the speech bubbles out. I don't put them in there. And,
Right.
Obviously actors are doing the dialogue. And then I animate panel by panel. You're seeing one panel at a time. So then it's good that you have all that art there, because when you pull the bubbles away.
I noticed you animated the transformation. That was
Yes.
so. Have you been doing animation before, or is it just something you did?
Yes, the past 7 years I've been making a feature film called Dogtown. It stars George Foreman, Jason Begay from Chicago PD, and Stacey Dash from Clueless. They do the voices of the 3 lead characters. I have animators all over the world working on it. It's privately funded, but it's taken 7 years because it's independent. It's a feature-length film. So
Right.
I've been animating for a long time. I'm an animation professor at Florida School of the Arts and an illustration professor. So I teach animation to my students. And I just thought, it'd be cool to do a little animated segment like that in a trailer. I know this is a comic book, but it never hurts to have some animation. Right?
Yeah. Well, I always
did the
ask,
same.
like some people who do animation are like lightning fast at it, and some people like say that it takes forever. What's your opinion on it?
Well, the animation you saw takes forever because that was 24 frames a second animation. That was full animation, what they call full animation. In other words, you're not holding on anything, you're not reusing anything, you're redrawing anywhere from 12 to 24 drawings per second. A lot of the animation you're seeing that's fast is closer to what they used to call flash animation, where like you'll move a hand or move a body around, and the computer will interpolate the movement. So you'll do the can here, you'll keyframe it, and it'll do this. If I have to draw this doing this, then I got to draw every single frame, right? So it does take forever if you do it right, in my opinion. If you're going to do the cheaper stuff, then
they do have software that helps speed some stuff up, both 2D and 3D animation now. But yeah, I actually used to do animation in Macromedia Flash when it was Macromedia before Adobe picked it up. Yeah, back in the day. And that was like when back then it was like like seriously innovative. It was like now it's like everybody uses shit like that now.
Yeah. But I mean, when it comes to hand drawn, the only real way to do it properly and make it look, at Disney quality or whatever you want to call it, is to draw it frame by frame. That's what you have to do.
Did you ever did you ever use freehand when you were using Flash?
No, honestly, I didn't like Flash. I never liked Flash. I use a software called TV Paint. It's a French software. Back at the French again. Okay, this is one good thing I can say about the French. They make great animation software. It's called TV Paint. It's a French software, and it's the last software around that's what's called raster-based hand-drawn animation. So you can draw digitally. I draw on a Cintiq tablet. You see it right back there. So it's hand drawn, but it's drawn digitally. I'm not drawing on paper and scanning it. So that saves a lot of time. And, you can watch your animation on the fly. So as you're working, you just hit play and space out your drawings and time it out. And yeah, it's great. So it's not a very well-known software, but it's an industry standard.
I like the softwares that deal with like skeletons and other like core based, like you can like base your animated on turn points on shapes, stuff like that. So you set up the
Splines.
figures.
Yeah.
So you set up your figures, and then you draw around, what isn't like automatically filled in, and then you just think ahead of how you're going to animate it that way.
It's kind of like rotoscoping, where they take live action footage and you trace over the movements of the live act, which I do in my film for like there's dancers in the film, and you can't animate dancing out of your head. You've got to see what the body's doing.
Right.
So we'll use live action footage. Hex Allen uses Toon Boom Harmony. Yeah, Harmony is the other industry standard, but Harmony is vector based, and TV Paint is raster based. So I prefer raster based, which means you have to have a resolution set and you can't go higher once you decide. So if you do high def, it stays high def. If you do 4K, you can go down, but you can't go up. Whereas Harmony is like Illustrator. It's a vector based software. And to me, TV Paint just feels more like traditional animation because it's resolution dependent. Sorry, guys, we've gone way off the reservation talking about animation software, but
that's typical on this. It's typical on this show, man. It's typical.
That just means you got sick of me from having to be the one to do it.
The guest has gone rogue. All right.
Yeah, I love the artwork, man.
Nice.
It's really, really great. I was checking it out earlier, man. I really dig it. Your colorist is also pretty good.
Yeah, James is outstanding. He works for IDW. I won't hold it against him. No, he worked for Marvel for years. I mean, he's been coloring for 30 years. So he did Claiborne for me as well. So we've worked together since 2008. And
when you find a good colorist that you can work with.
Oh man, they're so valuable. I tell people all the time, you want to work in comics, be a colorist. There's always demand for good colorists. You will always get work. Always. And people will pay for it. They will pay a premium for good coloring.
Right. There's a lot of colorists out there, but there's not a lot of good colorists.
That's what if you're good, if you can get good at it. But they just always seem to be in demand.
Yeah, I went through like 17 different candidates before I found one that I was really like happy with.
They have to match your style, definitely. Like they really do have to. And I have a very dense style in terms of I use a lot of shadows and I grew up on artists like Bernie Wrightson and Brian Boland and Michael Golden, of course.
They also got to have a natural understanding of things, because it's like, I mean, it's crazy because when I was auditioning colorists, I mean, like the choices they were making, I was all like, it's like, why? But and then it's like the colorist I have now, I like maybe one page out of 15. I have corrections on now.
Mm-hmm.
Like he will go with, I mean, virtually without any issues. Like like he will not mess up. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And it's not even like a mistake or like I mean, like his choices are like I don't know if he's just worked with me enough now to where he knows what I want. Because when we first started working together, there was like almost a change on every graphic, but then like probably after halfway through the first book that we worked on together, he was just every time just nailing it, just every time, and now he just, I mean, seriously, I almost never send anything back for change. So it's
great. Yeah. The only time I request changes is if there's an inaccuracy, and like, cause I'm big on historical accuracy. Mm-hmm. Like I like the leather straps on the uniforms to be the right color. The brown on the muskets have to be correct. I'm really big on that because my last book was historically accurate as much as I could make it. This obviously is fantasy, but I still try to keep the uniforms accurate, the weaponry accurate, everything, as much as possible, so it feels like it's in that world. But if you scroll up to the video at the very top and go to one of the extras down there, keep scrolling over. Keep going. It's the second to last one. That one, that cover to the left, when he sent me that, I was just like, dude, that's exactly what I wanted. Mm-hmm. Just the lighting of the fire and the reflective moonlight on the left side of the wolf. And
right.
It just, when you find a good colorist, you got to hang on to them. So
I agree. I definitely agree on that one. Because a good colorist, will have a range available to them, but they will always have a good, like, grounded texture base.
Yeah, and sometimes he'll get kind of abstract. Like you see the one to the right, he's got a green sky at night. You know, it's kind of like a aquamarine sky, and the figures in the background are also aquamarine. You know, no, it doesn't make really any sense, but you can see the figure, right? I mean, like it pops and it works. So, you know, there's sometimes he'll make decisions and I'm like, okay, yeah, I get why you did that. You can be a little abstract and you know, with those choices, because I'm big on clarity. I hate it when I look at stuff and I can't tell what the heck I'm looking at.
Yeah,
I like to know.
that's also good. But you know, it also, if you look at at the sky at dusk, away from the sunset, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
In a forest, you will get an almost aquamarine color.
Yeah,
almost.
you can.
Yeah.
He took it a little more extreme than I originally told him to. But when I saw it, I was like, you know what, this pops. The figure pops, you know, against the background. I can see everything. It's clear. It's intense. And so I was like, yeah, let's go with that.
Now, I apologize if this has been covered earlier in the show when I wasn't here, but did you maintain the same creative team over all 6 issues?
Yes. Well, I am the creative team. The only issue is my colorist. So he's already.
So you and the colorist, like you and one other person did this whole book.
That's it. Yeah, I'm the writer, artist, letterer. Everything but the colors is me. Yeah. It's I'm a control freak, man. Sorry. I have to have my hands in everything.
All the things.
I would color if I had time. I could do it. I paint in oils. I paint digitally. I got a master's degree in illustration. I can do this stuff. I just don't have time. You know, I mean, it's hard enough to get the drawings done, much less try to color the book myself as well. So honestly, a lot of the money I'm raising is to pay him, and that's it. It's not going in my pocket. Not at $10,000. So you know, this isn't. It'd be great to make money, but right now I'm just trying to get the book done and released. That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, you know, are you going to overprint and keep extra issues around?
Yeah, definitely. I've always done that. I mean, that's a smart thing. Like I said, this came out in 2008, and a month ago, I got over 100 orders in one purchase order from Amazon. 100 at once. I was like, what? This book's 12 years old. It had a spike all of a sudden. So as long as you got inventory, you can keep selling it, you know, keep making money. I didn't want to add this to my campaign because it's so different thematically than this. I didn't think they would connect. There is a question Eric asked about, is Holt your next project after War Party? Yes, that's my plan. Yeah, that's another Civil War biopic that it's kind of a follow-up companion graphic novel to this, but I'm probably going to make that one black and white, to be honest. So it's going to be a much, you know, lower priced book. I love black and white art. It's underappreciated. I love looking at line work and just the stark black and white, because as great as computer coloring is, I have to be honest with you, sometimes I think computer coloring completely swallows the line work, and you lose the beauty of the illustration, you know, because the colors are so dominant.
Yeah,
I think it's every step of the way you do, because when you actually do like your tight pencil, then you ink, you lose a little bit of it. Then you put the colors. Yeah,
there's always something. I mean, sometimes you lose, but you gain. You know what I mean? So you got to look at it that way. Like I order, you know, really cheap, you know, well beat up books all the time, because I don't like my whole collection of books when I was a kid. I didn't collect them. You know what I mean? I got them, and like there were a few that I kept because they were like, you know, like supposedly hard to find, but then they disappeared anyway. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when I got a book, that I bought, you know what I mean, I would read it and then I would trade it for another book. You know what I mean? And that's how me and all my friends did. We would trade out all our comics, our Playboys, everything we had. You know, we would trade them with each other. You know what I mean? So that we would have a variety available to us. And you know, I miss that aspect of comics, because now everybody collects their comics. They buy it, they read it once, they put it in a box. You know what I mean? It's like I miss when comics were so cheap, like this, when newsprint comics were, you know, Bronze Age. that the comic itself would take abuse and all that kind of stuff. It wouldn't survive very long. But it's like you weren't afraid to fold it, put it in your pocket. You weren't afraid to give it away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just.
I miss this. Remember this? Remember Savage Sword of Conan?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Buscema. I loved this stuff as a kid. It was so violent, and they could get away with stuff you couldn't get in your typical Marvel comic. But I loved the black and white line art. Even the Nam. I don't know if you know this, but the Nam was a color comic, but they also released it as a magazine, and they released it with Michael Golden's art in its original black and white form.
Wow.
And they did that so that you could appreciate his art. Because, of course, when it was printed on that crappy newsprint, the color would just, bleed all over it. And it didn't look as good. And then you come in and you just look at his work in black and white. I love it. I always felt like black and white was underrated. But
yeah, that was one thing about heavy metal I thought was always cool is you'd get a variety of styles. You get colors, you'd get black and white, you'd get, sometimes you'd be like super over the top imagery. Sometimes it would be super basic.
Yeah. So I'm not opposed to doing a black and white book. That's why I want to do
the Frank Miller book. Is that the same thing I'm thinking of?
Yeah, Sin City. Yeah, those are in black and white.
No, the Nam.
No, the Nam was Michael Golden was the artist, and the writer was what was his name now? He was actually a soldier in Vietnam. Doug Murray. Doug Murray was the writer.
Okay. What am I thinking about? The Frank Miller soldier book.
Liberty.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
What?
He did like a military book, like a.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with it. I don't know. All I know is this was my jam in 1986. When Platoon came out, I loved this book.
Back when we had actual comic shops, I picked up a lot of back issues.
Or wasn't it Martha Washington?
It was Martha Washington, but there was a secondary book too.
Yeah, Liberty. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys looking for like me to validate that? I don't know.
I think we just lost him again.
They're waiting for you. No.
We lost Church again? Did Church fall out?
No, he's there. He's there.
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, Eric says I see a kitty. Yeah, that's Pepper
I see a
Pot.
kitty.
She's telling me she wants dinner. That's what
The
she's
Starlight Cat over there.
So we've gone through your campaign. You're a day in, and you've hit over.
No.
He's on 30 days in. I extended it.
Oh, you extended
This
it.
took a long time to build up momentum, but the momentum was. Yeah.
I thought you were here after a day. I was like, this is no.
This was hard. This was hard fought battle, man.
Do you want to come on my show? And,
of course, I'll come on any and every show I can.
Okay.
The bottom line with this book, it's not a quality issue. It's an awareness issue, in my opinion.
Oh no, it's not a quality issue at all. I can see that by looking at the pages you publish.
I just got to let people know about it, and it takes a long time. I mean, this thing sat at.
You're saying you did the writing,
yes,
the editing, the artwork, the lettering, everything but the coloring.
Correct.
So you did the pencils, then the inks,
and the pre-press. I'll do all that. I did all the pre-press for this myself.
Oh goodness gracious!
All of it. I'm a graphic designer. I work in Idesign. I'm not just an artist.
You're a kindred spirit.
So, well, thanks.
Mr. E can tell you off air, but I'm about that life. I told you. I know what you're
I'm a
going
control freak, right? I have my hands in every aspect of production.
I looked at 400 capital C's this morning.
Wow.
I know your pain.
Right. Eric, I have not been on Red Valkyrie. I have been on Michael Bancroft. He was my first stream. He kind of kicked me off. I could say kicked me off. He didn't kick me off the show. He kicked me off the campaign, basically, like got me going.
Well, cycle back now that you're in your second phase. Let everybody know that you're still here and you still need that support. Tell everybody that, a share is just as good as a back. Because you never know which one of your friends might look at this and say, hey, I want to throw some money at that guy. So share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on your blog, put it in your YouTube video, put it in your description feed.
If anybody wants to throw money at me, I'll dance on a pole for you. man.
Well, and I
I'm
knew
gonna need to see the poll
10,000.
first, but we might
I
have a
knew
deal.
10,000 was going to be a lofty sort of goal, being sort of. It's not my first
It shouldn't
Indiegogo, but it's my
be.
first Indiegogo comic. So.
A $10,000 goal shouldn't be a lofty goal when you're offering 6 issues for the price of what
It
some
is,
people
though.
charge for one.
You see what it took? It took me 30 days to raise that
Look.
$6,000.
Look, you can ask Mr. E again. I come in here and I advocate for you guys because you put your heart and soul into this work, and you put it out on the plate for everybody. And you know the people don't understand that just because it doesn't look like Fancy Feast, it might actually be Gourmet Steak.
Yeah, right. That is true. Well, I hope it looks like Fancy Feast. I tried to fancy it as much as I could. But yeah, I mean, like I said, all you can do is bring your A game, whatever that A game is, and you just got to put it out there. And the hard part, honestly, is not producing the book. The hard part is letting people know about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hard part.
That is the hardest part of the game.
It is.
And you know, like we were saying earlier, it wasn't like this a year ago. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But now after the market has gotten a little cluttered. You know what I mean? It's like a lot harder, and it's really kind of operate. I mean, people like quality books, but people usually buy, like, overall the majority of buyers buy off of personality
Right.
than the quality. You could have the best looking book in the world, and if they haven't bought into, if you haven't been
It
endorsed by the right person, or if you
It
want,
relates to trust. The person need to
It is.
people
It
need to
is.
trust you, and they need to get to know you and see your passion, and that's when they go, well, here's
Right.
my money.
And I know people have been burned, with campaigns that either didn't deliver or
Yep.
were super late and all that, and it's
Yeah.
Crowdfunding. There's no legal obligation to fulfill it. You could just take the money and run. And that's the problem with it is, yeah, you'll never do another book again. No one will ever trust you again. But the point is, there's really no way to hold anybody's feet to the fire. So I made it a point to get as much of this done as possible before I launched, to show that a lot of the work has been done. And I'm serious about this. So I'm not just out here, throwing a couple covers up and going, yeah, I'm going to do a book, back it. No, I am doing the book, whether you back it or not. The book's going to happen. So I hope you'll back it, but I'm still going to do the book.
See, Eric's making a point exactly why we do these things here. He says, this week I'll be backing War Party and Captain Love, 2 quality books, and most of all, you guys are taking this serious, which makes me want to back you guys.
Hail, Eric. Thank you.
To the rescue.
Thank you. Yeah, you have to take it serious. This is an art form. This isn't a game. I mean, the amount of time you have to put in to produce a product like this, or any graphic novel or comic, that's time spent away from your family. That's time spent away from doing other things with your life. You're giving of yourself. The money's not the issue. It's the time. You can't get that time back. So I've never seen this as a frolic or a game or a hobby. It's a serious art form that deserves a lot more respect. And honestly, it's the best art form for telling visual stories because it's so affordable. If you can draw it, you can do it, right? I mean, imagine what this would cost to make it as a movie or an animated film. It would cost millions. But I can tell this story with a digital pen on my computer and crank it out, and there you have it. So you got thousands of or hundreds of soldiers on a battle scene with extras that would bankrupt a studio. You can draw it. That's what I love about comics, and I don't know why more storytellers don't use it as a medium, because it's great.
Well, I would say that more storytellers don't use it as a medium because their egos are too big. They think that their stories have to be epic novels or have to be screenplays, have to be movies, because a lot of people still think graphic novels are for children.
Mhm.
And the truth of the matter is, children don't buy graphic novels.
Right.
Children buy the the periodicals.
Right.
You know
Or
what I mean? Yeah.
Raina Telgemeier and stuff. Yeah. The YA stuff. Yeah.
And children don't even really buy comics. Their parents buy it for them now. I mean,
Yeah, and comics aren't really a thing marketed towards kids anymore either. Because remember back in our day, even when we were teenagers, we had stuff like Batman the Animated Series, and even as recently as like the Teen Titans Go series.
Well, here's an example. Here's a comic actually from my day. Okay, I just got this one in the mail today. Actually, this is Flash Gordon. I was showing this a little earlier, right? This is from when I was a child. Okay, this is like this is mid 70s, late 70s, you know what I mean, era comic book. And it was 40 cents, right? That was bubblegum money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how much. I mean, bubblegum cost about that. Candy bar would have been like 50 cents. You know what I mean?
I'm not far behind you.
Right.
This was my era, and it was 75 cents.
Right.
You know, so yeah, comics have gotten ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I think $5 is too much to pay for a 22-page book. That's why.
Well,
I
would say that if you were gonna go inflation wise, a comic book should cost about $1.50 now, because that's about what a candy bar costs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is crazy how much. I remember, because when I self-published in '92, I had to charge $2.50 per issue, and that was a lot of money in '92 for a comic book. But people would pay it for an indie black and white because they knew it's an indie black and white. I'll pay $2.50 for it. And then today it's doubled.
Yeah.
And the quality in a lot of cases
today
is
they
going
expect
down.
Today, like, you might see a $2.99. You might, you'll see it, but you'll see $3.99s and some $4.99s.
Right. What's funny is the stuff that people will watch on Netflix and have no idea it was a graphic novel or a comic book.
Right.
And I always find it interesting. So I'm like, women will watch these things, and I'm like, you're into the story. So the story's not the problem. It's the medium. You don't want to read it in a comic book form, but you'll watch it in a TV series or a movie. I always found that so strange to me. So we're fighting the medium. We're not fighting the subject matter. We're fighting the medium.
Yeah, I mean, because it's gone to basically a collector's medium. You know what I mean? If comic books were still produced like this, where they were like easily consumed and then passed on, to somebody else. If it was still like that, I think that the market would still be a lot more vast. But it's become a very specific kind of market. I mean, and at the same time, when I was a kid, this age, Pong wasn't even out yet. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, Pong hadn't even come out yet. So it was, like, this was it.
Right.
You know what I mean? This was it. This is all there was.
Yeah. If you wanted to see something fanciful, you saw it in a comic book, basically.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, if you wanted Frazetta style illustrations, you had to, get a library book or Heavy Metal magazine. You know what I mean? You had to, if you were into that stuff and you really wanted to cool stories that were, not like Saturday morning cartoon, basically cleaned up, you know what I mean? They were a little bit more gritty, a little bit more life. You had to get a comic book.
Yeah. And we're competing with so much other material now, that, I mean, we're basically the market, I think, at this point. Guys in their 40s and 50s. Yeah. we're the ones buying this stuff, right? But I think the medium will survive, but I think it's smaller. But the good news is, like I said, you don't have to have a lot of readers when you're going direct to the reader, because you're getting 100% of the cover price.
Yeah, you can get away with less readers if you got a higher percentage.
Definitely, a lot less readers. So, and that's always been the battle I've had to fight with distribution. Was you just get so little money for your book that unless you do high numbers, you don't make anything.
Right.
I mean, that's been one of my main arguments to get Diamond distribution for years.
Yeah. It's a catch-22, let me tell you, because I've dealt with both. When I released Claiborne, I had a returnable distributor that put it in Borders and Barnes & Noble and Books A Million, and then I had Diamond. The good thing about Diamond is I knew when that purchase order came in, none of those books were coming back. I was getting that money, but the orders were lower. When the orders came in from Borders and Barnes & Noble, I got these really high orders, but guess what? More than half of them come back. and they've been handled, they've been damaged. You can't resell them at full price, and you have to eat it as a publisher. It's awful. So I don't know what the answer is, because the returnable market will kill a small publisher because you can't afford to print books you can't sell.
Well, I mean,
You know,
and call me a blasphemer if you will, but look at
You're a
DC
blasphemer.
Comics. Thank you. But look at DC Comics. Like, how many of their books recently have been, more than $6 a book?
yeah. Well, I mean, I just bought.
I mean, look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin #1. That was a $9 cover price book.
Yeah, you're talking about this one.
Yeah, I reviewed it on
Yeah.
the Gospel last week or this week.
Yeah, I bought all 5 variant covers of Black Label 3 Jokers, all 3 issues. So I bought, 15.
What was
comic
the
books.
what was the cover price on the base issue?
$6.99.
Right.
Yeah.
So
but-
I mean, holding the line at $2.99 just kind of went by the wayside, right?
But it's longer than a normal comic. It is a prestige format. And, this is something I would pay for because I wanted it.
you know how
You know what
much
I mean?
the last issue of The Walking Dead that was a triple-sized comic book cost?
We're waiting for your answer.
No, I don't know. How much?
It cost the same as the cover price of issue #1 did. The book never variated
never
in
went up,
price.
yeah. But isn't Walking Dead, I mean, they stayed black and white. They never went color, right? It never went color, right?
Nope.
Yeah, black and white's so cheap to print. And, of course, the way Walking Dead's drawn, it's
Mrs.
drawn
Church
like
is telling me I have to take a break. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I always liked how Walking Dead had a pulp feel about it. Like it was, you could tell they're just cranking those things out. I didn't want to do that with this book. Obviously, I'm spending a lot of time on every panel, every shot.
Well, and that's wise, because I mean, it's like Walking Dead. You know what I mean? They kind of like, hit a niche at a time and was successful with it. And whereas like if you're going to introduce a new comic series, you know what I mean, for it to hit off, you really have to put everything into it.
You do, and I miss art like this. Jason Fabok, I mean, I felt like I was reading The Killing Joke again. Like I loved it. And you just don't see art like this as much anymore. You can tell animations played a lot in it. There's just I just get the feeling a lot of these books are just trying to get them done as fast as possible. Just get them done and just get them out.
Here's what I found is somebody who pays artists, you know what I mean? You got to find an artist who will put all into it. You know what I mean? Because what I have found is that some artists will like, okay, well, you're paying me this much, so I'll only work this hard on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so instead of really having pride in their work, it's just a job.
Yeah, the pay rates I know have gotten really crappy. I mean, I remember hearing stories about Todd McFarlane just slaving, back in the day when he was doing Spider-Man, just slaving over that table, working. He had no life for a while there, for a few years there. He was putting in the time, the passion. Of course, it paid off for him. But those are the artists I grew up admiring. The Michael Goldens, the people that didn't cut corners. The Brian Bolins, the Bernie Wrightsons, Todd McFarlane, people that were putting in effort. You could see it on the page. And then you actually start to call out other artists and go, he needs to up his game because this guy's kicking his butt, and it's why McFarlane was so popular. People got tired of looking at, nothing against, Romita and all that, but that style had been played out for so long that when we saw something new with Spider-Man, it was so fresh and different. And you could just the detail and everything, it captivated us. I mean, we were just blown away by it, and nothing else would do after that. So yeah, I just miss that effort. And I know those guys are getting a lot more money than artists get paid today. So that's part of it. Like you said, it's the page rate. It has a lot to do with it. Those guys are making thousands of dollars a page in some cases. So and today, what are you getting? 150, 100 maybe? It's pretty rough, So It's a different time.
It is rough out there, I like the smaller page rate so I can afford artists, but because I couldn't afford $1,000 a page in my fucking best day.
Well, of course, but I mean, like you said, you're going to get, to some degree, obviously you do get what you pay for. I'm not going to say what I pay my colorist, but I pay him a competitive rate. Let me put it that way. I pay him what he would get from a mainstream publisher.
Like, for instance, these older comics, which I look at as the original standard. You know what I mean? Let's see where here. These older comics, the detail work in them is there. It's just nowhere near like what you get these days.
No, but the illustration quality of what you're showing me right there, in my opinion, shows a lot more knowledge and ability than a lot of the stuff today. So I'm not just here praising detail.
A lot of the mainstream stuff, a lot of the mainstream stuff coming out right now is they take all the shortcuts and give nothing. Yeah.
And so they look like, I love how your boy Zach describes it. He goes, this looks like a pamphlet or a brochure in the back of my seat on an airplane. Like, here's how you put on your vest. Here's how this is what happens in an emergency. It has that horrendous sort of, everything's very posed, and stiff and traced almost looking.
It has those like as somebody I get pitched these generic marketing like animation tools, you know what I mean?
Right.
They have all like what it's like basically pop art, you know what I mean? But like just variated pop arts. And I feel as though comic books today are like not even as good as pop art illustration, but it's like they were taking that pop art approach.
So many books today, mainstream books, look like a Fantagraphics book from the 90s. Nothing against Fantagraphics, but you know what I'm talking about, like that Love and Rockets kind of vibe. That it's niche, but is it right?
Like
for
Tank Girl it worked for Tank Girl, but I don't think
right. But does it work for your mainstream superheroes? Probably not. And I read superheroes, but honestly, I was always into the other stuff. I was into the military comics, the fantasy adventure comics. I always liked things that were outside sort of the superhero.
It does come down to a lot, like probably a lot of reasons why we don't like what's coming out now is because the people that are creating it, right, are not even considering things that we care about in comics when they're creating these things. I mean, the demographic of creators have definitely changed. That whole diversity in comics movement has made a big uproar and pretty much swept the floors with a lot of the old school talent. So
they don't like the story of the strong hero that can stand by himself and towards adversity. They like the little team up. It's like the WB thing they did with Flash and Arrow.
Yeah, everything has been softened. Which is why I was like, I'm going to pick the most brutal period in American history. The 17.
It's like they're trying to make everybody real, too real, even like more like it's not real life. They're trying to reproduce social media life instead of creating characters that you can actually look up to or aspire to be at. Like,
I honestly, I think that obviously the business model is that these people that don't give a fuck about the content because all they care about is the bottom line. They're like, okay, you know what? We need to expand our audience. They see at the cosplay at the conventions that most of the attendees, in that they notice, right, are female because they're there as cosplayers or they're there, as attendees, who are comic fans, but they're more collectible toy fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're comic culture fans, not necessarily comic readers.
Correct. And so at a convention, you will have more women there, but they're not.
They're not reading them.
Right, they're not reading them, and so, but they don't know that, right? They're not taking that level of evaluation. So they see that, and they're like, okay, well, we need to cater to this audience. We need to feed this audience, And so they're like, you know, they what do? They hire female writers, and they mix up the things, and they're told they need to do this, they told they need to do that. They're pitched this angle, they're pitched that angle. You know what I mean?
But
And
here's the thing, man.
They make their choices based on that kind of crap.
Half my backers are women.
That's
So
good.
how do you explain that? I mean, like you see what I mean? Like if that's all women want is the selfie with the phone and all that.
No, it's not.
It's like saying an handicap person wants an handicap superhero. It's
Right,
stupid.
right.
Like nobody just wants one thing.
Right.
Right.
That's not. No one. I mean, I'm never saying that that's what women want. I'm just saying that that's what they think women want.
Right.
You know what I mean? They, you know, and the truth of the matter is that women and men think differently. You know what I mean? And that's something that will never change. You know, like we think differently. Now, I admit that some men are crossing over to thinking like women if they consume too much soy. You know, I think that happens probably once in a while. You know, and then like you know, I think socially there's like a castration movement. You know what I mean? Where they like don't want men to have their balls anymore. Like that. There's a lot of that going on, and you know, but I think the biggest problem is that they don't understand, you know, who their buying audience is when it comes to comic books.
Well, don't worry. War Party is dripping with toxic masculinity. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. And you know, I'm not afraid to draw sexy women. You know, so I'm trying to give the audience what I want as a reader, what I loved about comics growing up. And, you know, I'm not on any crusade to save anything. I'm just telling the story the way I want to tell it. I did see, it looks like somebody said Google cut the stream. Did we go too long?
Google cut the stream?
No, we're still.
Greg.
I went to check on YouTube. We're still on.
Okay. I'm probably gonna have to bow out soon, anyways. I got to check on the election.
We can wrap it up.
We're also almost past the hour, so
yeah, we're past an hour. So,
but I appreciate the time, and I'll definitely church. If you want to set up a live stream, I'll be more than happy to.
Oh, by the way, your numbers jumped.
Oh, nice. Okay, let me see. Oh yeah, thank you. Past 6,500. Looks like I got a couple backers actually. 128. Yeah. Thank you, whoever that was in the chat. Appreciate it. That was a pretty hefty back. I think one of them backed at the $100 level because that jumped up almost $200.
Yeah, we don't have big numbers on our shows, but that we have quality numbers.
That's quality. $100 pledge is definitely quality.
Yep.
So, wow, thank you.
We have a great chat.
Yeah, we have some like our followers are hardcore.
Yep.
We don't have
recognize
thousands.
Greg because Greg was on. He was on Rob Arnold's stream when they were kind of gently roasting my book. I wasn't there, but they were roasting it because of the price. I actually, if on my campaign, that second video where it says the price is too low, I cut portions of that stream out and did an answer and response to everything. So if you go back and watch it later, it's pretty entertaining.
Greg's been on our show already once. He has a book that's not even on mailing list stage yet, but it's called Gun Demon. He's got that project coming out.
Nice.
So
a lot of creators. It's great how many creators there are out there that, you know.
we got somebody saying he's who the guy was that backed your book.
Me.
Oh,
Me.
Hail Lothar.
Hail Lothar.
Hail Lothar.
If there's any name I wanted to say hail to, it's Lothar. Right? He sounds like a character in this book.
Lothar is
Awesome.
awesome.
Thank you.
Lothar D. He is awesome. He's on Facebook and on all the social media platforms, and he's a regular. And we are happy to have him full time here.
Awesome.
Sorry
So
about
awesome.
disappearing, guys. I have 3 little ones that had to be wrangled.
Yeah, I gotta go wrangle. So.
Well, okay, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. Everybody, also make sure that you take a moment to check out this book. If you haven't seen it, the link is in the chat. We'll drop it again here. Also, don't forget that there is Nat the Merc.
Yep. Tales from the Netverse.
Tales from the Netverse. You need to check that out. That one you're like what, like 5,200 now, somewhere in there, 5,300. Where you at?
52, I think.
Let's also not forget about Captain Love.
Yes, please don't forget about Captain Love. Captain Love is still have an active campaign with 20 days left on it. We could use
Yes.
some heavy lifting going on that, but everybody who's in this chat is very aware of that. I guarantee it. So it's, you know what I mean. Most people coming to this show already knows that I'm pushing Love hard, and
You bet he is. Trust me. I
Oh,
know.
that came out. That was interesting the way that came out.
No,
I'm
it came
always-
out perfectly. That's exactly how he pushes it. He
Check
pushes
this
his
out,
love
Drew.
hard.
Oh man.
Not to be confused with pushing his love hard or pushing his hard love.
Oh,
Ink
My
spot
hard
will
love.
be done soon. Doing the paint over my pencils.
Nice. Yeah. Nice skin tones. Love that.
Oh, dude, he's amazing.
Yeah.
so Ink Spot's
What,
doing the
what's
so
the number of that
Ink
pack
Spot
that
is-
he has there? Like 18?
So these are
I'm
Ink
fucking-
Spots. This is Ink Spot doing the coloring then.
No,
right?
no, I'm,
Yep.
I'm saying the abdominal area there. He's got like an 18 pack. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's the
That's-
bottom of the rim cage, and
That's
that's
called
the
that's called about 6 or 7% body fat is what that's called.
yep.
You mean 0.6 or 7%?
No, he'd be dead then. That looks yeah, that's great.
Actually,
Yeah.
he wouldn't be dead on Mars.
All right, well, I'm gonna be dead if I don't go in here and talk to my wife. So
Yeah, no, everybody, thank you for coming to the show. We will
Thank
see
you,
you
Sir
next
Murph.
week.
Yeah,
Hit me
man.
up and hit me up on Twitter, and we will have you on either this weekend or the weekend after
Sure thing.
to promote your book and push it. So
All right, hail the chat, hail Comicsgate, hail
Later.
Drew
brother.
Love.
And we are signing off. Back Captain Love.
Bye.
what?
Did it end?
Boom 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 boom.
Broadcast